Hi, this is Joe Gutfeld doing another video for my the Big Six Towers discussion page. Of course, I'm doing this video. Of course, I'm doing it a day before I'm supposed to be doing the video for the Big Six Towers website, which I will do. But I'm limited in how much time I have in those videos, so I'd like to elaborate a little bit more and go into possibly more detail of the recent posts that I've been making on the page. Of course, now we are officially in the 2023 Board of Elections, Board of Directors election cycle. And of course, once again, I am running for the Board of Directors. This is going to be my 6th time in the last 7 years that I've been running. And of course, all the bio at the time doing this video, all the bios have not been sent out yet of all the candidates. Now, of course, I heard rumors of 7 people running. There's going to be 13 people running. I'm not really. Most likely, I think I heard more and more as 13 people, including myself. And there's going to be the highest amount of people we're going to have, running for the board, which I've been trying to, over the last few years, if you see, those of you who are on the page for, most of the time the page has been up, know that I've been trying to encourage people to run and trying to get more, different people on there instead of the same people year after year after year, which I'm probably going to repeat some of this stuff in the video I'm going to have to do for the Big Six website. But one thing what I'm glad of, if it is 13 people, I just hope that the majority of them are people who never ran for the board before. And that's what we need. Because I am tired of seeing, the same people on the ballot every year. Well, I'm accused of being on the same ballot every year. But the difference is that I have never been elected. But the only one in the last 6-7 years that I've been on the ballot, that I've never been. Everybody else has just about been elected to the board at one time or another, except for myself. And it's it's sad because of all people who have come up to me, or fellow shareholders who have come up to me and ask me, "Oh, how come you don't win? How come? Well, I mean, we vote for you every time you're on the ballot, and you don't seem to win. How come you don't win?" And the reasons are plentiful. Because people complain that I don't have any work experience. Well, I do have work experience. I worked in probably one of the worst jobs you could possibly have, is working in a mailroom for not one but 2 companies. I worked for New York Life, and I worked for Chemical Bank. Of course, now there's no more Chemical Bank, but I worked for both companies in the mailroom. It's like the worst job you can have. But I did what I had to do in those 2 jobs, and fortunately I was fired on one, and I was fired from New York Life for complaining about people smoking in my face. I was fired from that job, because I was complaining about people smoking in my face, so I was fired for that. And I quit the job at Chemical Bank because I was accused of not doing my job, and as a matter of fact, I did do my job. Which is kind of a long story. I did that story in the previous video, but I told most of those stories in a different video, so I'm not going to elaborate again on this one. But the thing is that I don't want everybody who has ran against me before, one time when, except for maybe Nelsa Fega, who ran against me last year, and she was the only other candidate other than myself who didn't get elected. And I know she's running again this year because the list hasn't been put out yet. Hopefully by the end of today, during this video, hopefully we'll get the list. She and I are the only ones who didn't get elected, and she got more votes than I did. I mean, she never ran for the board before, and I have, of course. She got more votes. She got about like 30-some votes more than I did. And people doesn't understand how come everybody gets more votes than me. I mean people like what I had to say. People like what I said in videos, and people just don't understand why. And so, well, because people who I mentioned in the previous post. They are, the cool kids, or the cool club, or the cool kids, are the ones who are more popular. Because unfortunately, of course, from vote totals, I've never been a popular person. I never was. Even from elementary school all the way up to college and work, I've never really been a popular person. I've been the guy who everybody picks on, and they get away with picking on me, and without any consequences of what they're doing. Nobody punishes them for picking on me. They get or treat me like a piece of garbage. They seem they got a free pass, and so when what I feel is my time to shine and it's being elected to the board, I never do. But I do hope that I am elected this year. But unfortunately, there's going to be stories, especially since this year we're finally going to have, after 4 years, we're finally going to have a in-person Meet the Candidates nights. I do hope you all show up. There's going to be 4 times actually. We're going to have I don't know if the times are officially set yet, but it's going to be 2 on one day, like on Wednesday. Well, I do have the email somewhere. I have the email saying it's going to be one at 3 o'clock and again at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday, and then the following Saturday, which I don't know why they schedule it on a Saturday. I think both times will be during the week. But the other time on Saturday is also going to be at 4 o'clock, which is please at 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and the other time would be at 7 o'clock. And I do hope a lot of people show up to the meetings. It's very important everybody shows up. And of course, right now I have heard at least 2 former board members are going to be running for the board this year, and they are Jerry Lamonti and Richard Ulrich. Now, personally, I don't have anything against these 2 guys, the 2 of them. But I know Jerry Lamonti ever since I was 1 year, since over 50 years. I know the guy. And my father worked with Jerry's brother in the New York Post for 35 years. So I know the family very, very well. I know both of them very well. Well, I know Jerry more than his brother. But we know the whole family for over 50 years. Both of them. But I feel that, long story short, I feel that both Jerry and Richard, both of them, along with Lorraine McAndrews, who is a current board member, who I feel is going to be running for the board, even though, like I said, the list is not official yet. And since Lorraine is not on, the Facebook page, that I don't know if she's going to be running. She hasn't made it official. And as far as I know, she hasn't made anything official. She's going to be on the ballot now. But I feel she should be. And if she is, these 3 people should not, under any circumstances, be re-elected to a board of directors. I said that in a recent post, and I feel that way because I feel that any board, because these 3 board members, like I said, I have nothing personal against the 3 of them. It's the fact that they have been served several terms on the board of directors. In some cases, at least in the case of Jerry Lamonti, it's been over 20 years since he's been on the board. He's been off and on the board for over 20 years. And I think it's about time that he take more than 1 year off. And I mean, technically, he's not even been a year. If you want to be technical about it. Because of what happened in the previous election, that we had, I think we went going for like 3 or 4 months before we even had an official quorum. And what happened was they should not be allowed to run this year because of the disaster. So technically, their term ended in October. Sorry about that. Technically, the terms ended in October in 2022. But the reason why they stayed on for another 3 or 4 months is because we didn't have a quorum. So they were stuck on the board an extra 3 months. And at least 3 months, we were stuck on the board for another 3 months. And they went over the terms. So they should not. So because of that law technicality. It is a technicality, but I feel they should not. The two should not be on the ballot this year. Now, Lorraine McAndrews was different because the term does end this year in 2023. And two other board members, Barbara Collins and Jonathan. I know I'm going to butcher the guy's name. Jonathan Buscemi. Those two, the terms are up this year, and they are term limited out. In other words, they've been on the board for 6 years, and so they cannot run for this year. So they have to take the next year off. And because of that, because these guys keep beating me. That's why a lot of them, the term limits are turning up, and I'm still around. And so that's why I'm still on the ballot. I'm still running. I'm still going to be out there, and hopefully do more of these videos. And I do feel, I know I'm digressing here, but I feel that Lorraine McAndrews, who I feel is going to be on the ballot, and I know the two other ones, Richard Ulrich and Jerry Lamonti, all going to be on the ballot because both of them told me. And I feel that all three of them should not be re-elected to this board. Because all three of them, I feel, and I like two of them. I like Richard and I like Jerry. But that I feel that all three of them have screwed up this co-op, unbelievably screwed up this co-op financially. True, you could make the argument that because of COVID, that they're in a bad financial shape as well. I mean, everybody's in bad financial, still get hit and hit hard because of COVID, because the government and the whole world shut down because of a virus. They still call it a stupid virus because that's what it is. It's a virus. And because we had viruses since time immemorial. Since the earth was created, we had viruses. Okay, but to shut the whole world down for it, it hurt everybody. And not only that, but I feel that we were in bad financial straits before the virus hit. And of course, starting off with the board member who I feel should not even be on the board, and that's Howard Geary, because he was the one who initially screwed up this co-op financially, because he was the board treasurer for a long time until I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name. I'm sorry about it. A current board treasurer, has been on the board for 2 years, for the last 2 years, and she's going into her third year now. After this election, this is going to be on a third year. And now you realize how lousy job Howard Geary did when he was a board member. He did a lousy job, because he even said in his campaign video, which was originally recorded in 2021, and it was re-uploaded for last year's election. I still can't believe, and there was one person who couldn't believe that was a video from the year before. If you remember, there was one person that said, "Oh, that's a new video by Howard," and we all were like, "No, it's not. It was last year's. It was the video for 2021. He recorded it in 2021, and reposted it in 2022. That's what happened. And it says that he didn't want to record the video. And even though he didn't record the video, he still got the son of a bitch. The son of a bitch still got re-elected to the board. Even though he had like a year off, he got re-elected, and because of him and his buddy, the late Kevin Doyle, which we're going to get into in a second. These two guys, in particular, have ruined this co-op financially. And of course, we can't do anything towards Kevin Doyle because he passed away a year ago. And I do feel sorry for his family that he passed away and all that stuff. I'm not being insensitive or anything, but like one person said, "Oh, being insensitive or stubborn on his grave." One person responded to it. "Oh, he did favors for my mother. He did all these favors for my mother, and yada yada yada." And I always be grateful. And I always will keep, if he hadn't died, we'll keep voting for him because he did all these favors. Now, with all due respect, okay, he could do favors for the Pope. Kevin Doyle could do favors for the Pope for all I care. And the fact of the matter is, he did a lousy job when he was president of the board. And he was president of the board. He was on the board for 9 years. All right. I mean, true, let the guy die, rest in peace. But the guy was on the board for 9 years. He was president of the board for 7 of those 9 years. And the majority of the time that he was on the board, instead of trying to correct some of the problems that was, on the board, talking about financial problems that we had, and trying to help resolve them and trying to correct some of these situations, what he did was he was coming down on me, coming down on what I was posting on Facebook, the videos I was doing on YouTube, and other issues that, or every time with Roy Lippman, I know I'm being Roy in this, but every time when Roy would print out a newsletter, Kevin would come down on us. I mean, I would never ever forgive the guy. I would never forgive Kevin for what he did when he ran when I ran for the board in 2018. He was, every time that I would make a point or answer a shareholder's question, Kevin would trash me and say, "Oh, he said, Joe, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong." All night long it was going, and he would explain why. And of course, one of the things that I ran on for that year was I wanted to open up all the board meetings. And at that time, 5 years ago, I wanted to reopen all the board meetings and have an info meeting every month, or at the very least every other month. Kevin came down on me for that and says, "Oh, we can't have a meeting. We can't have an open meeting." And he was the one who fought against having open meetings. Okay? Excuse me. He was the one who fought against it. And people were asking, why are you against the open meetings? And his rationale was, oh, because the same people always show up. Or they always ask the same questions all the time. That's just too long. That's why he never wanted to have open meetings anymore or have an info meeting every month, because he wanted, he was tired of seeing the same people there and the same people asking the same questions or bringing up the same issues. Well, my response to that is because the reason why people always bring up the same issues, and telling the people who do come to the meetings always bring up the same issues, is because those issues have never been taken care of. And people get frustrated, people get angry, people get annoyed, and so they keep bringing up these issues all the time. And it's true. If they don't take care of these issues, it's going to become bigger issues. And Kevin and Howard Gibby, when he did his video for the website 2 years ago, he brought up the same thing. I mean, it was like him and Kevin Doyle were sharing the same brain. Literally, they were literally sharing the same brain and giving out the same excuses and that's what they were, excuses as to why we never had open board meetings or at the time open board meetings or an info meeting at least every other month at least. And now we haven't had an info meeting in about a couple. I think it was the last info meeting we had was when we had the maintenance increase. We didn't have one the entire an info meeting during the entire summer. We haven't had one. Well, at the time of this video, there had not been one scheduled yet. Of course, don't forget we're in September, and we have, I know in the middle of the month we have the high holy days, the Jewish holidays coming up in about like 2 weeks, and it's going to be very hectic. We have to schedule everything around the holidays. Plus, we have the, we have the election now starting, and it is starting earlier, and it's because of the fact that it should have been started earlier, simply because of the fact to make sure that we have more time for people to put the balance in. Because like the last election, like I said at the top of this video, it went on for about 3 months, and it was getting ridiculous, and a lot of people thought that I will win because we have two board members, one was two former board members at the time, Thomas Hagley and Howard Geary, running for the board last year, and a lot of people thought that myself, Nilsa, and I forgot the other lady who won. I'm sorry that I'm blanking on the names right now. I'm sorry about that. I do apologize for it. But a lot of people thought there was going to be 3 new board members. In terms of myself, Nilsa, and the other lady who won. Many people thought the 3 of us were going to win because the other 2 have been on the board so many times. But of course, one of the problems is that a lot of people believe that the election was one issue they never discussed on a post. But a lot of people consider that the board, and it's the final time we're going to be discussing in this video, because it's already almost 21 minutes already in this video, is the fact that many people believe that the elections were rigged. Especially when we had Honest Ballot, and then we had another company, HK, I believe it was MLK or MHK, whatever the ballot company was that we had in the last few years. Now we have a brand new company, and one thing that is going to be taken care of is that no Big Six Towers employee, from management on down, from management, maintenance, or public safety, are not going to be supervising the ballot boxes, which I am in favor of. I know Roy Lemmon's been making post after post after post, and newsletter after newsletter after newsletter, talking about this issue. That the employees of Big Six Towers should not be supervising the ballot boxes, or guard the ballot. Sit there in the lobby in the chair like I'm saying, and they have the ballot box like right here, and watch shareholders put the ballots in the boxes instead of physically mailing them. Now me, well, the last couple of years when we had the online voting, I did the online voting, which is a lot easier, a lot simpler, to do, and gets immediately cast. Now HBD is not allowing, or so our lawyers said, HBD is not allowing the online voting anymore. So we have to fill everything out, and we have to send everything out, and I'm going to physically mail it. I am not going to put it in the boxes. I'm going to physically mail it in the post office and send it out. Of course, the other conspiracy theory that goes on with the election is if you vote for less than 3 people, which you could vote up to 3 people, which was another thing that Kevin Doyle did when he ran in 2018. He kept insisting everybody to vote for 3 people because he was basically saying, don't vote for everybody but me for that year's election. I already posted in details why in another post, so I'm not going to repeat all that stuff now. But what another train of thought. When people want to do believe that the election, that public safety goes into the boxes, has the key to the box, management goes in the boxes and see who votes for certain people, and they throw those ballots out, or they redo the ballots, and to vote, for people who, they want on the board. I mean that's a big conspiracy theory that's been going on. I don't advocate that conspiracy theory. I mean, I heard those stories since 1996 when we had the first open election. That if you don't fill out, three names on your ballot, the management will fill out whether it's one, two, or probably even 3 people. Like I said last year, if you don't like the candidates who was on the ballot this year, then instead of throwing out your ballot, just sign it and say I'm not or say abstain from voting because I don't like the candidates. And then send in your ballot. Because if you do that, if you send in a blank ballot, the ballot will count towards the quorum. And even though you didn't vote for one particular person, which I do hope you vote for me, but if you don't vote for anybody, and don't throw your ballot away, just send in a blank ballot and then sign your name and date it. And you can do that. And naturally, I prefer that if everybody voted and that everybody votes. But please do vote. Please take the time to read the bios that's hopefully coming out. If not today, then hopefully by the end of this week. Read the videos. Come to the candidates' nights and candidates' days, wherever's time is more convenient for you. And also, you can feel free to ask me questions, especially those of you who are on the Facebook page. You can always ask me anything. To me, no questions off limits. Okay, you can ask me anything. No, as I'm just telling you right now, no questions off limits. Because I will always give you an honest answer for any questions that you have, and I want you to please don't be afraid that you insult me, okay? Because even though I have a big mouth and everything else, I always try to do what's right. I always try to do what I think, what I feel is right, and if you elect me to the board, I always will do what I feel is right for the co-op. And I will feel that people that have been certain shareholders, and I will do this in another post. I always will feel that there are certain shareholders who have been getting away with murder around here, and if I'm elected, the free ride is going to be over, folks. That's why I can never get elected to this board, because I would treat every share, even if a shareholder I know for 50 years, like Jerry Lamont, I know for 50 years, nobody's going to get a free ride with me, right? And that's why I'm going to be positive. Is that nobody will get a free ride anymore. In times of shareholders' free rides from certain board members is going to be finished if I'm elected. Thank you for watching, and do hope you vote for me, and please vote for the board election. Thank you very much for your attention. Catch you next time.